Back on the stage, and you thought it was going to be somebody important.
Wait,
Just us.
Mike's not important?
I'm going to ignore that.
I'd be lying to myself if I said I was.
We'd all be lying to ourselves if we all said we were.
So we're all just sitting in the essence of Billy D. Williams that was just here.
He's sitting in the butt print.
I'm never washing these pants.
You're not brown leader for a reason.
That's right.
That's right. Mic drop.
I wore my red pants. That guy wore his brown pants.
Yeah, so we're just all sitting here reminiscing about what's happened so far. We still have so much left of the con. We got Warwick Davis coming up here in a little while.
Yeah.
We're very excited to be sitting with him. So before we the reason that we've come up live and interrupting your day again is we have some strong feelings about a show that has just recently aired.
And I'm so
Mike
excited.
is really excited.
I'm so excited that it's
to
not
talk
about fuel
it.
this time.
Oh,
But before we get into that, since we have a little bit of time here, so many people have hit the stage, and y'all have been out on the vendor floor, meeting people, getting signed. What has been the highlight so far? It's Saturday. We have one more day left. What's been the highlight that it could be you met someone, you found a toy, you found a book. What's the highlight?
For him, it's about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
About 10 minutes ago, absolutely.
Yeah. That was given. Yeah.
And how I can smuggle this chair out of this place and not get you guys charged for it.
you get a little plaque card. Put
Right,
back
exactly. Billy sat here.
Date time.
Yeah.
Well, for you can go a little bit back further,
Yeah.
to find another highlight.
Well, it's just been it's actually been hanging out with you guys here, and it's been getting to do these interviews and podcasting, because that's really what I come down here for, and then I corrupt Scruffy as much as I can to get him to buy more.
Scruffy. Go buy some hammerheads.
But so they're the collectors, but I love to hunt for them. So I'm going through the vendor booth. So I'm always like, come on, let's one more lap for floor sales. Come on, I know we missed something.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And he crashed out early last night, but DB and I was like, come on, we got to keep going.
Sissy. Oh, sorry. I thought I was going for another chant, guys. Where were you?
You tried.
Where were you?
As collectors in today's day and age of simply just clicking it and ordering it, the hunt is still fun, right?
Please.
I mean, finding something in the wild is a phrase for the
You're talking to
reason,
two comic book hunters who
right?
hunt.
And so really that's
the
been
real.
outside of the podcast stuff. That's been the real highlights. Is just
That's
going on the
something my
hunt.
generation is missing.
It is.
Really.
Yes.
I mean,
Right.
they don't like. I love going to different
And good
fairs
TV.
and stuff. Antique places. You never know what you're gonna find.
Right.
Did anybody else catch that he made a good point and made us feel old at the same time? His generation.
I was going to let it slide because it's Mike the Mike guy, but
his generation. Yeah, I'm with y'all. Like it's very rare that I buy anything on eBay. If it's eBay, then it's like something that you just cannot find.
Right.
Yeah.
It's something that like I've been looking for like 4 or 5 years, and then I'm like, all right, I gave it a shot, and then I would buy it. But I'm all about like last night at the AfterCon, I found the Legacy Fett that has the only original Mandalore
figure.
that leads into the Fets. That's the only toy made, and like I got it so cheap. Like if you go on eBay, that's like $100 or more, and I got it for $30.
Nice.
That's the whole point.
So that made my con.
Yeah.
You got. I'm going to. No, don't do that, Scruffy. Don't do it.
Sissy.
Hoarder.
Yeah, we known each other how long now, and you're just now saying that. And I find one last night, but it's okay.
He would have charged you triple that anyway. So
Yeah,
you
you're
got
not
the win.
You're not wrong. He's trying to
Right here.
he's trying to sell me 2 figures, and we haven't even come up with a number yet. And he was last night just licking his chops. I know you just sold all your stuff.
Yeah, you got some money.
How about you, man? You sold a bunch last
I
night.
sold my collection last night. I did.
Well, not your whole collection.
Well, most of it, a lot of it, all but like 11.
You want to share to us why?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm calling you out.
You ain't gonna tell me, man. Black Series and VC, more Black Series than VC. Just let me down. the feeling, like kind of like what you had back in the day with comics when you just let them all go.
Oh,
You were
yeah.
just so
they were
fed
going
up
rampant with variants.
rampant with variants. Stories just became ridiculously stupid. Like you took a good story, like good example.
We talking about the EU or comics?
Comics. Is there a difference? Is there a difference, really? I mean, they killed the market with reprints, and then it's the same old stuff. Oh, I have 5 Mandos. I have 5 Ahsokas. I have 5 clone troopers. Oh, here's clone trooper blah, 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 who was in this little part that he's tiny in. I just don't care.
I kind of agree because the recent is Vader. Like
Yeah.
in the past year alone, they've
There's
released
3
the same
Vaders.
Vader
Yeah.
in 3 or 4 different
Yeah,
boxes.
it's a new here's your Empire Vader, here's your New Hope Vader, and
Here's your
Return
Rogue
of the-
One
yeah,
Vader. Here's your
Rogue
Obi-Wan
One
Vader.
I'm like, Jesus. At least if you're gonna give me the Obi-Wan Vader, make it the one with like
With
the
the
helmet's
crack-
cracked
Right.
in, like
Right.
Then I'm like, oh, it's a Vader that doesn't look like those 4. And then when they came in with the reprints, I mean, they took. Look, we're all collectors here. We all are looking for a deal. No one's coming in here going, man, I can't wait to pay retail price or like $200 for something. No, we all want the deal. And we know that. And we've done that for years on buying Star Wars and collectible toys. And when I got a deal at the time, and then you go, you know what? I'm just going to reprint the crap out of it so everyone can have one. And now your deal is worthless as crap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating. So every time I looked at my collection, I just got mad.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was not fun. There was no joy
Yeah.
in it like it used to be. So
Yeah, I can't look at something that I didn't make money on.
Well, it's
I know
not
it's a
just-
collector feel, and like, oh, I own it, but at the same time, it feels good if I've made money.
right, if you made
Yeah.
a few
Oh,
bucks
yeah.
off it, but the other, it's like they don't care
Yeah.
anymore. It's like, okay, we know that people are going to be stupid and they'll just go buy the whole thing, so we don't care. And it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then, every time I looked at it, I just wanted to punch my collection in the face.
I get it.
So it was ICCC's rolling around. We've been to these lobby sales
Yeah.
every year, and people were starving for Black Series that I noticed because
That one guy.
when I got there, dude, there were many people like sharks in the water. Like I just threw blood in the water because I had 3 people walk up and go, "This is the best collection I've seen in a long time."
Including me.
Yeah,
I bought a couple.
yeah, Matt did buy a couple. Sorry I didn't give you that friends and family discount.
Yeah.
So I couldn't take it anymore. I was just like, you know what? I'm getting my love for comics back because, like you, I dropped off comics because the stupid variant. There was 40 billion variants, and I just was like, you're just stealing money from me now. So
It's slowed down though.
It has.
Like comics have slowed down. Like we're getting some quality. Again.
right.
Yeah.
It's almost like comics and toys are having the Disney effect, where it's like, hey, here's a whole bunch of crap. And we're like, we don't want your crap. Why don't you tail it back and spend some time and give us some good stuff?
Yeah.
We can wait. We patient. And maybe there will be a time down the road. Like I still kept my Knights of the Old Republic. I kept my Force Unleashed, my Throns, because Thrawn, and he's right here and will always stay there and live there. So, but all the other crap, I wasn't even mad I lost money.
Yeah. Oh, you bought a Malik.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did buy a toy today. I had to sell Malik a long time ago when we had to pay for car repairs and stuff. So it was good to have him back. It's good to have. I found Revan about 6 months ago. The little figure. I found him the original, not the reprint. I do have the reprint too, but and I found that again it was going for like $80-$90, and I got it for $50. So it was like
Get a deal.
That little spark of flame there, but it was.
Well, did you get all your frustration out?
Oh.
Because now we're going to make it worse. We're going to segue into the reason we got up on this stage.
I quit. I'm out. I didn't sign on for this torture.
So there was a show recently.
Let's just call it
Star
Acolyte.
Wars.
Let's not beat around the
We'll
bush.
call
here.
it Acolyte. Why not? We'll just call it Acolyte. Okay, sure, the Acolyte.
The Acolyte.
I want to get your first impressions. First impressions before we go into details. Let's start with you, Mike.
Absolute masterpiece.
Oh man,
I'm
I
kidding.
hate you.
I'm
it's-
kidding. No,
It's definitely a piece of something.
it's a piece. It's a piece, all right. You know, I felt like it was missing all the bases everywhere in it, and it just. I watched the whole thing. I was told not to watch the whole thing. I ended up watching it after a couple months after it came out. I'm like, let me watch it. Let me see how it is.
Yeah.
I made my own opinion, and it was lacking in a lot of areas. I was like, and I'm sure we know the line that was probably the most annoying to everybody. Power of one, the power to the power of many. It was just like, you could have come up with something different. I think they could have. I really do. But, it's just, I just felt like it was missing something.
Oh man, Brown Leader.
It was so. The best way I can describe it was.
That's how good conversation started. Well, so
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of how I feel about it. It's fine. It's just fine. It's not.
I'm fine.
Right,
I'm
right.
fine.
It's not the great. It's not Mando. It's not. It's not even Lizzo and Jack Black. But it's.
They were a masterpiece treasure. You shut your
I
mouth.
enjoyed that episode. I'm the only one in our group that I enjoyed that episode. I had fun with it.
Oh, that's
But
next.
but it was just in the end, it was just okay. It was just
Yeah.
fine. Am I glad they did it? Sure. I'm happy that they're trying to expand and do more. Yes, but they've got some fundamental problems in live action storytelling overall that they've got to fix, and that show suffered from I think just a lack of experience with the showrunners in terms of Star Wars is a cinematic universe. And when Disney finally went to the small screen with that opening episode of Mando, and a lot of people knocked the volume, but now they knocked the volume, but the volume still kept that cinematic feel.
Yeah.
That picture of Mando in the doorway of the little cantina.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's iconic. And going to different worlds and but you had showrunners, Filoni, Favreau, that are used to playing, especially Favreau, used to playing in a cinematic universe. So his
Right.
background is that. He knows how to capture that imagery. I'm blanking on the name of the showrunner for Acolyte.
Yeah, you asking the wrong people.
But,
Yeah.
but her background was small screen, and theater.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
I
And
was thinking of the.
and her background was small screen and theater, and I think that how she envisioned the things. So when you get to the planet of Kofar, it definitely was a soundstage, and you could tell it was a soundstage,
Right.
and everything was there. And she wanted to go. Did she know her lore? Sure, she knew her lore. She brought in some cool things, but if they had maybe used the volume in the background, to expanded that feel out, and so in the end, I'm happy we got it. New characters. There's Saul, Darth Gunshow, Chimera. He was, he was a great villain, until he got neutered in the last episode. But
Oh yeah.
we enjoyed it. I mean, we had fun with it, poked fun at it. We're not afraid to poke fun at it, but.
That is definitely a polite way of putting it. Let's get the impolite way over here.
Okay, so all of you know me and Matt, okay? And Matt will say something like, "Oh man, this was awesome," and I'll be like, "You mean that big pile of crap that we just watched?" And that happens quite often. And we have a every team has a messaging whatever. And as soon as Acolyte was over, me and Matt almost at the same time posted the same thing. It was okay.
All right.
And you would have thought the world stopped.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you Matt was going, "Oh, I see Micah. I bet you he says it's the greatest thing ever he's ever watched." And I saw the same thing. I was like, "I bet you Matt thinks it's awesome." And we both are like, it was okay. And I was blown away. I was like, wow, I can't believe that just happened because that never happened.
You know what it was? Book of Boba Fett sucks so bad that I think Acolyte was good in comparison. Like, I just think Book of Boba Fett was a complete waste of my time. That
And
I watched Acolyte and I was like, it can't be worse than that.
That's how I felt about Kenobi.
You felt okay.
Really?
My son would agree with you. Like he thought Kenobi was
I
a complete
disagree
waste of
about
time.
Kenobi.
I enjoyed Kenobi only because I got a little of the background and nostalgia at the same time. You know, especially, you know, between the Clone Wars or the Rebel
Scruff is
stuff.
like, "Hold my
You know,
beer
like,
real
oh yes, you're not going for your piece, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Book of Boba Fett was a great piece of shit-talk.
Hey, and
For
you
2
know,
episodes.
for one of the
Yeah,
greatest
definitely.
characters ever in Star Wars, it just didn't do what it needed to do to bring that character
No.
back
With that.
into it.
Yeah.
It does not
Yeah.
give you the Boba Fett that we got at the end of Mandalorian Season 2,
Yeah.
and then go to
Not at
Three's
all.
Company Boba Fett.
And then you bring Mando into Book of
on,
Boba
knock on
Fett
my
and make him better than
Rancor.
him.
Yeah.
It's just
We won't hurt you as long as you let us rule you. I mean,
I don't know what that was,
It was
but it was
bad.
beautiful.
yeah,
Thank
very
you.
That was
good,
awesome.
very good.
Yeah.
right off the cuff. Didn't even write it down.
Find this man a
Anyways.
record label.
Acolyte. Okay, here's my take on Acolyte. I can tell you who one character is. Okay, that's Soul. I can tell you I don't give a crap about Soul before because you didn't give me enough character development to give a crap.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, okay, now
I think
I'm
Scruffy
going.
needs to be up here.
I'm going as a. Did you read the books and the comics and all that? Okay, I haven't either. So I'm like, in my thought process is, okay, maybe I need to read the book, maybe I need to read a comic, maybe one of these characters in there, and I'm missing something. So I tried to go fresh mind, and then I looked it up, and I'm like, okay, well, I read a comic, can't read a book, there's nothing I could do. This is just what you gave me. Okay, so based on that, I have to go, okay, well, all right. Watching the show, I didn't watch it week to week. I watched it all in one. And by the second episode, I said, she's going to be good, she's going to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately said, the one that's bad, the one that's good is bad, and the one that's bad is good. That's immediately going to happen. The guy who's the, don't hurt me, he's the bad guy. I literally said that. You can ask my wife. I said, that guy's the bad guy. She's going to be good, she's going to be bad. It's going to flip-flop. There's your story.
It was predictable.
Yeah.
I knew
I
that.
literally
absolutely.
said that in the second
Yeah.
episode.
As soon as we met Chimera, we were saying,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
he's
like,
it.
and as soon as I met the guy, I was like, "There's your bad guy."
There's your bad guy.
And there's
Hiding
gonna
in plain
and
sight.
and I looked over to her, my wife, and I said, "There's going to be some baddie in the background that we don't know who it is yet," and that was the best part of the movie because there was a baddie in the background who was the fan service to the fans.
Yeah.
And you know, I think they were trying to catch that essence from old Star Wars, and
They
sometimes
were.
you just don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could put the bad guy front stage and still make it amazing. As long as you make the acting amazing, you know, like you don't need to put Palpatine in the back. You know, like
Well,
for a fact how good he is.
if you were gonna, okay, the thing I love about Star Wars, and you look at Kenobi, you look at A New Hope, you look at the newer movies, the older movies, the bad guy has a background person, but the guy, the wannabe baddie is always up front and, hey, I am the baddie. Sorry, I'm doing the thing again.
Yeah, you are.
They didn't, like, Kylo Ren is, I'm Kylo Ren. Vader is, I'm Vader. This guy's like, our master's going to get mad if you don't go kill the Jedi. You know?
And he ends up
You have to
killing-
do what he says or he's going to kill you. Like, he's literally trying to play that character. I'd rather him been like, get out there and kill some people. Go kill these Jedi. Do what they did. But like, I didn't want that little reveal. I'd rather him just came out with the helmet, took the helmet off, said, I'm the bad guy. I'm the one telling you to go kill the, what do you call it? And then you give us the little Darth Plagueis and you go, oh, he's the puppet master pulling the strings. Then making it more predictable. Like there was nothing in the show, even when they give you the why she wants to kill the Jedi stuff. I was like, it's because Jedi want to take children.
I think the power between those two are imbalanced. Like if you take the Stranger and he just killed like 15 Jedi in one standing, and then he's matched up with Soul, and you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
It didn't to me. I was like,
Yeah.
I like. Don't get me wrong. I like the fight sequence. I was
Yeah.
like, wow.
Oh yes,
Yes.
that's part
cool.
of the show.
But it's like, but when you got someone who's absolutely OP up there, just taking out fully trained Jedis here, and just with no problem whatsoever, it's like, okay, what? how is Saul and him
Yeah.
fighting one-on-one? It's
Yeah.
like, how is that possible? But
yeah.
Yeah, there
I
was
don't
no
know.
like, oh, you were my old apprentice, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's just what's her name is like, oh, it's you. Oh, there's no more of that. It's just you. Oh, it's you.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they developed the characters enough to make me care.
no.
Like
And-
I didn't care.
Yeah.
No.
I when the Wookiee got her like the mind and all, like I'm like I cared more about the Night Sister crap than I cared about the Jedi.
And they didn't explain the Night Sister stuff that well.
They didn't.
They threw it in there.
Yeah,
and you're
they
like, I
didn't,
want to know
like-
more about that because that's a huge part of the Jedi Fallen,
Yeah.
storyline is
Right.
the Night Sister stuff,
And-
and I'm
and-
like, I want to know more
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, and
stuff.
anybody who knows Star Wars before the Old Republic era, the Jedi go to planets and they take kids.
Yeah.
That's what Jedi do.
That's right.
They go to planets and they go, your kid's strong in the Force, I'm taking him.
Yep.
So when
With
I
your
saw-
permission.
Yeah, yeah, sure. But I mean, I
can
knew.
convince you.
Yeah, I don't know. It just that part of it was so predictable that I was like, okay.
So, do you think it's because they tried to condense the story down too much into
Yes.
8 episodes? And do you think if they had done maybe a 16 episode season, they could have stretched that story out? Because the storytelling was
I like his idea,
Doing more, going a movie.
going the movie route.
And that's what I say about all these shows, and I think that's what would improve all of, like, you guys don't like Book of Boba Fett. I respect that. I didn't mind about half of it.
so you want to squeeze like what was it, roughly 3 hours of show into an hour and a half? The storytelling was bad enough as it was.
I think you could do it better if you condense the story and at least do it. I don't know how to describe it. It's just more of, I feel like they could do it better as a movie where you have to get all that stuff into whatever it is, 2 hours, 1 hour and a half. Because a lot of these shows, I feel like, Acolyte, I don't think it was as much, but shows like Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, I think you could have condensed that into a movie.
Kenobi, I agree.
it
That
would have been
story,
a fantastic
Well,
movie.
somebody did.
because it was
made
just an
into a
adventure,
film.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Somebody
loses
cut it
the kid twice and he has to go rescue the kid twice, and it's just
Yeah, you didn't have to do all that same stuff.
right. You're
again
not
and
building
over
the
and over
characters because
again.
you already know the character.
Right.
So in on his side with Book of Boba Fett wasn't even in like 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you could have cut that out. Like
Yeah.
when it went to Mando, you could have saved that for the next season of Mando, or put it in the movie, or have it as a plug.
Right.
Like they made it a whole episode for Mando. It was like
Yeah,
Mando
there was
2.0.
the only part of it that had to do with Book of Boba Fett was when Fennec Shan came and got him at Mos Eisley Spaceport. That was the only
Exactly.
part.
Yeah. So like with that one, I wholeheartedly think you could have, because like with him coming out of the desert and all that, that's your beginning origin,
Yeah.
blah blah blah, coming back, and then him trying to become the new Jabba because that's what he knows, that's what he wants, and
Right.
he wants that order back. Like I think you could have squeezed that in 2 hours. Acolyte, so in my take for Acolyte, I kind of psyched myself out before I watched the show. When I hear the title is freaking amazing.
Yep.
The
Right.
Acolyte, you're already like we all speculate.
Right.
Crazy. Reading the books, reading comics, watching old shows, watching the cartoons. We're like, I think I have an idea of who the Acolyte may be, especially in the time period they're going for. And then we're all, picking the characters, or maybe like, ooh, it's a new character serving this person, or this is bringing that Sith out, or bringing the Sith back out, and all that. You're like speculating like crazy, and then none of it happens. It just goes back to a period of time, and you're like, okay, cool. Like they're just now bringing those books out, so we're like, okay, we're giving live action. They went really quick because they just went back to the Old Republic stuff, or not Old Republic, but
Yeah.
The High Republic.
the High Republic. They just brought those books out. Like those books are not that old.
Right.
And then we get a show that goes back to the High Republic era. And in the comic books, like they're going, man, I swear to God, every time I turn around, there's a new High Republic Adventures or High Republic series or
He's
whatever.
not wrong. They're on their volume 3.
Yeah, they're going crazy with High Republic. But Old Republic's been around for
forever.
and we're not getting any of that. I mean, we are eventually, but that is the stuff
Yeah,
that we need.
I
But
agree.
either way, when we got the Acolyte title, I already started to psych myself out, I think. And then when the show started, and, we're going to stay away from woke conversation because, that's a slippery slope. And
I don't think that had anything to do with why it wasn't great.
well, no,
I
but
don't think so.
I just think it's a forced thing in today's
It
TV,
is.
whatever. But when we have those kind of directions and kind of forced storyline into us, it affects the story in general. So when we're watching this and we just want Star Wars. Now, I was excited when I saw the Night Sister stuff because I'm like, ooh,
Right.
I want to know. That's
Yeah.
something I want to know
More lore,
about.
more expanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's something we're familiar with.
And
with
we
the
saw
code.
in what was it? The last Tales of the Empire,
Yeah.
where you saw they established different factions of Night Sisters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now, because you had the red and you had the whatever the mountain ones, and
Yeah.
exactly, it could be a whole nother branch.
Yeah.
And expand that lore. I was super interested
Yeah.
in that. And I know we joke about the power of one, the power of two, and I think that goes right back to, and it's Leslie Headland. It goes right back to her stage background. I think that is the level of character development, the song, all of that. If you saw that on a stage as part of a play, I think it would flow better.
I agree with that.
But on screen, when you're breaking it up over 8 episodes or
Yeah.
possibly more, that song would sound a lot better on stage. It just, from a cinematic universe standpoint, it didn't play well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that it goes right back to that whole the experience of the showrunners and the scope and the scale that they see their vision in. And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No.
that.
No, you're good.
But
That's
yeah.
what. Some of the portrayal of the Jedi didn't make sense to me. Like the one that was like, "Oh yeah, here's my lightsaber. Go ahead and kill me. You deserve to kill me." I can't see any kind of Jedi being like, "Yep, I'm ready to die." Because I've been living in regret ever since that day. That didn't make sense. I can't think of one Jedi that would do that. And then you have the Wookiee Jedi. What's his name?
Kelmika.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're asking the wrong person.
And him living, alone on this planet and everything. Like these things, these little details about these Jedi, all because of that one day. Jedi have done bad things. Like if you go back into Legend series stuff, you could see like Jedi were not because
They
of their
weren't perfect.
cause. They weren't perfect, but they never lived in regret. It's not a part of
Well,
their.
I have read
character.
I read the original 3 books of High Republic, which don't relate to this story at all. But one of the things that I picked up from the Jedi Order of that era was that they were very academic. And so they were very lost in their own heads about the Force. And,
Right.
and there's one character in the original books that he does some actions in the second book that he thinks are dark side. So he spends like 3/4 of the third book just whining to himself about how bad he is, and it's like, dude, get out of your head, and so I think there was, if they carried one thing over, which we've talked to people that are High Republic fans, and yeah, this series had nothing to do with High Republic, but I think if they carried one thing over, it might be that sense where they were more of an academic order, a political body, and not so much. Remember in the prequels, they had to become soldiers.
Yeah.
Right.
They weren't soldiers.
They weren't soldiers.
Right. They weren't generals.
They were keepers of the peace.
Yeah. And so I think they had established themselves they were kind of stuck in their own head in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the some of the coolest characters or the coolest Jedi of the Acolyte, they just kill immediately.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You
I was
know,
a fan
like,
of that.
They bring out their toys and everything,
Yeah.
and like I knew when the toys came out, I was like, I'm not buying them yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no.
Because I'm like, you watch, if I buy it, they die. It's kind of like the Razor Crest conversation all over again. I'm like, if I buy it,
Yep.
The thing I think they failed on this is another thing, they gave us too many Jedi.
oh
This
yeah,
should have been should have been a tale of a master and a Padawan.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we liked best
Soul
about
and
it,
someone
and
else.
DB pointed it out on our show, some of the best parts were when it was Saul, Jecki, and Yord, doing their thing, going on their mission.
Yeah.
That was some of the best.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Seeing that whole
Yeah.
Master, Fresh Knight, and Padawan dynamic.
Yes.
And
It was good.
and you're right. I think I think too many characters,
Yeah.
and that was my problem with the very first High Republic book.
Yeah.
It was this whole new, and I couldn't keep up with the characters, and
Yeah.
I needed an encyclopedia of characters.
I call that the Game of Thrones effect.
It could be.
The first time you watch Game of Thrones, you're like, wait, there's a Lannister, he's the king. No, wait, it's got to be your bull.
Yeah.
No, it's just,
Yeah.
wait, he's part of there was too much of okay, so those 5 were there. Was he there? Was she there? She's in charge. Like, it was just too much.
I totally agree with you. That's there was probably 3 things I liked about Acolyte that kept me watching it. Was one, that until they died, because you had the crew. I think you look at successful sci-fi movies, it's the crew.
Right.
It's not usually just one person, it's the crew of people.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's why Guardians of the Galaxy was so
So good.
successful.
Absolutely.
It just wasn't one person, it was the crew of people.
Yeah.
And the same with the first Star Wars. It just wasn't one person, it was the crew of people.
Yeah.
And like, that was your crew. And I was like buying into it. I was like, ooh, yeah, because I'm like, I want to buy her toy, I want to buy his toy. I'm all about Soul right now. And then they go to that planet, and then it just
falls apart.
Well, one of the things High Republic is known for is killing characters. That
I agree.
section
yeah,
of the
yeah.
universe is known for killing characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which you kind of have to, because you can't hold on to them, because they can't have that series for long.
Right.
Right? Because you got to move on. You got to go through time periods. But that was a long time period. And, you have with the hierarchy of Jedi, and then they bring in Yoda, the very last episode. I'm like, it didn't make sense that he wasn't a part of that. Like, you were thinking like she was running things almost.
I was happy they didn't bring Yoda into it, because if you brought and Plagueis as well, and I was happy with the tease of Plagueis, because if you brought either of them in, it would have become their show.
No.
And it wasn't supposed to be their show. And we've had a lot of Yoda. We don't really need, a lot.
I completely
Yoda.
disagree.
Yeah,
We have not
same.
had enough of Yoda.
I was about to say,
Yoda is one of
But-
those
but-
characters who comes in, has
Okay.
a badass moment, and then he's out.
one of the things that we've been asking for as fans is get out of the Skywalker saga. Let's do something different, and we don't need. Not everything has to be with those characters, and so it's okay. Would I appreciate more Yoda? Yeah, sure, but it didn't have to be in the story, and I think he just would have overpowered the show. And if it's the Acolyte, it's not Yoda in the Acolyte; it's the Acolyte.
I don't know what's happening over
Yeah,
here.
I
I
don't
think
either.
he's having a stroke.
Chris Farley moment
unlock
I'm
here.
in a straight jacket because I'm going to lose my mind.
No, I was gonna say, like, because Yoda's like 800 years old.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way of denying
This
that
is
he
a
was
perfect
part of
time. This
story.
would have been a perfect time to give us a different version of Yoda.
Yeah.
True.
True.
And
True.
Okay, here. I don't agree.
Like Young Jedi, like the Young Jedi cartoon.
I
Did you ever
don't
watch
disagree with you, but I don't agree with you.
That's fair.
The thing
If that makes sense.
I think the thing Yoda would have done for this show is give the person who doesn't give Star Wars a try, new Star Wars a try, a character to latch onto to like the other characters.
Okay. Yeah, and you know what? You do have a good point, because one of the other things that we notice in Star Wars now is the shows that are successful versus the things that are not as successful with the fans is what amount of familiarity can you give but still be new?
Correct.
So the prequels, we had some familiar characters. We had all new ships, but they were similar enough to what we got in the OT that there's continuity there, and it's cool, it's exciting. The sequels, what new ships were there? There weren't any.
None.
Right? It was the Falcon and it was Star Destroyers, and there was nothing new about it. And Acolyte, same thing. You had the space camper that they flew around in, but
Space camper.
right.
That's
So
straight up what
if
it
you
was.
think about it, think about the old style camper. No, not a Winnebago. It was
Not
the it's the truck with the camper on the bed.
Yeah.
Because that was the hyperspace portion of it,
Yeah,
and then
Right.
they would detach and then go down to the planet.
Right.
But Acolyte was the same thing. And one thing that is Star Wars is spaceships, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was no notable spaceships
Yeah.
in this
I
show.
agree with you.
Yep.
And so it didn't have that so you have a good point about Yoda. It would have added an anchor point
Yep.
Yeah.
for fans. So I will,
Yeah,
I'll give you that, for sure.
That one fan who'd be like, I don't know if I want to dab in it. You show Yoda, and then a perfect way, like Matt was saying, you can never have enough Yoda, but I would love a very different version of Yoda who learns his lessons so we get the Yoda that we have. Because this is 900, what is this, like 700 or something?
Yeah.
He's only like 200 years old.
Well, yeah, and you have a good point because he makes some mistakes in the prequels for sure, right?
Yeah.
A couple therapy sessions for Anakin, it would have been a completely different story. But he's running the Jedi Order a certain way, and yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You could have shown the seeds of why he made the decisions in the prequels.
Yeah, I think this show, this is all I'm going to say. I think
No,
this
it's not.
No, it's
Don't
not.
lie to us.
Come on.
and they know me so well. There was nothing fantastic about this show with the characters. And again, the Game of Thrones things. There was too many characters. There was nothing that happened to make me latch on to a character like I would with Yoda, where I'd go, okay. They tried to with Soul. That's why I say the last 3 episodes are the best episodes of the show, because they gave me a little Plagueis. Soul, I was like, okay, I'm starting to get on board with Soul, and then I'm like, okay, well, stop caring about that now. And then Yoda, of course, at the end.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you my favorite part of that whole show. And I think Disney is missing out on this marketing. It is the pocket droid.
Yeah.
That is the greatest thing. I'm like, I don't understand why those were not on the shelf.
Right.
Because I would go to work with my work shirt with a pocket droid.
Hell yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't understand why those are they can't be expensive to make.
No.
They just make noise. Just push a button, you put them in your pocket, they're this big.
You watch 6 months from now, they'll be at the Droid Depot in Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, yeah.
You watch. They already have those.
I think that's
ones-
too soon. Disney's not that fast.
They're not that fast? Okay.
No, they're not.
2 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. It's 2 years after the show airs is when they come out with toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to me, because I'm all about who's the new droid?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
right on.
Yeah.
That was my thing.
That
I'm
was right, guys. That was one of my things, right? Pip. I loved Pip. That was,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was when I saw that, because it was new. It wasn't one that had to follow.
Yeah.
Just put it in your pocket, and
Cool.
it did things.
Like
It was kind of like a USB pocket droid. I
Yeah.
need the program.
A
or I
digital
need a
Leatherman.
tool. Yeah.
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 No, it was,
That was my favorite. That was absolutely my favorite part. I didn't really care for her, but I loved the Pip droid.
yeah.
Yeah, so going back to the Yoda thing, I just think it was a little confusing with the chain of command because the way they treated her like she was the Yoda at the time when Yoda was really the Yoda at the time.
Yeah.
And because of she didn't have any kind of council with Yoda until the very end, and she didn't even mention a council with anybody until the very end.
I thought she had in one of the earlier episodes, she had mentioned the council's not going to like this or something like that.
I don't remember
thought
that,
she
like-
had, but
I don't
I was about to
remember.
talk about that with the council because I'm
Okay,
like,
go ahead.
You would think, I don't mind that the way they showed Yoda. And at the same time, I'm kind of where Micah is. I agree and disagree. I think they could have shown at least one little scene with Yoda and her or something, or even just the council.
Right.
at
We
the
were stuck at
time.
middle management the whole show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mid-level council. We
I
didn't
would
get to
not
the-
have minded. I don't want a full blown,
Yeah.
episode, but it's like just a little something.
You didn't want
there.
an Attack of the Clones episode?
No.
See, I only remember her saying the council's not going to like this when he went back to the planet. When she found out, Saul went back to
Yeah.
the planet.
Yeah,
without-
I-
that's
I-
the only
I-
time I remember her.
And
saying
I may be
anything.
mistaken. I watched the show once.
Yeah, I watched her once. Too, yeah.
There hasn't been any second viewings on this side.
No, there won't be any second viewings. I'm totally going off of one.
The
viewing
only
of
time
this.
it'll get a second viewing is when they announce the new movie, and I watch everything in chronological order.
Oh my God, I don't know if I could do that, man. I don't know if I could watch Book of Boba Fett.
Every time there was a new movie, I did it every time.
See, and I would just watch the movies. Maybe
Including
Clone
cartoon.
Wars. Yeah, I would watch Clone Wars and Rebels.
Including cartoons. Now, when I say I watched it, did I just sit down and do this? No, I was at work and it was on and I could hear it and see it. But every time. So I will watch it again when that happens. Because sometimes you miss things or get something from it that you didn't get. I don't see that in the near future. The next movie's not till 30.
Yeah, right.
But
So to take it back to a lighter note, did you catch the Spaceballs reference?
No, but
No.
you're gonna have to inform me.
So Venestra's assistant, her little toady Jedi that was following around. What was his name?
I don't know. I can't tell you what the main character's name was.
His name was Mog.
What?
And look at his hair.
I don't know.
And
I'll
then
have to
do
watch
side by sides
I
with
thought
John
I
Candy.
heard that, and now that you mention it, I was
Yes.
sitting there going, "Isn't that?" Because I watched Spaceballs like the day before I started.
He's got this weird poof of hair, and it looks a lot like John Candy's from.
Damn you,
Spaceballs.
Brown Leader. Now I'm just gonna. I don't want to watch the whole show again. I just want to see that part.
I'm gonna need a YouTube clip.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot. Yeah, just find me that clip.
Right,
send me a little thing.
But yeah, I had to laugh when I saw that. 'Cause
Well, that's
it was
pretty
just-
cool.
Yeah, just go back and look at side by side photos of them, and yeah, his name was Mog. I mean, how more?
That's pretty cool.
How more obvious can you make?
Wow,
it?
we
But-
didn't trash this one as much as I.
No, I was gonna say like I'm trying to stay. I could go on the positive or the negative and point out so many other things that I hated
You're
about
not
the
wrong.
show. I thought the effects were crap. Honestly.
Right, the production value.
Yeah, the
it
production
was not cinematic. The fight scenes were cool.
Yeah.
They were,
Fight
there
scenes,
was, there
yeah.
was
Cool.
good. I think so like the last fight scene, I know they had built up with marketing about we were trying to surpass the Duel of the Fates, which let's say, don't you want every new Star Wars showrunner to say that? I mean,
Yes.
aren't they?
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
you want them to try to surpass that?
True.
So I don't blame them for saying that. Did they accomplish it? Obviously not. And I think one of the reasons they didn't was because again, that final fight scene was on a soundstage. It was not Mustafar. It was not. There, it wasn't. It didn't have that cinematic feel.
Yeah.
And that's what hurt it. I think the fighting choreography was great. It was outstanding.
The choreography was by far some of the most amazing fight. Like when the stranger. Do we know his? Do y'all remember?
Chimera, but he doesn't have like a formal name or anything.
Yeah,
but
so
Chimera.
like when he broke apart his saber, threw it
Yes.
at one, fight in another, and then used the force to pull it back. I was like, there it is. That's how lightsaber fighting.
and then
should
using
be.
the cortosis and with the headbutts and the
Yes.
I mean
Yeah.
that was a really cool.
I did
was
like
good.
the helmet
really cool
thing.
deep dive. And my favorite thing from all that fighting is we now have the term hole punch Jackie.
Oh man.
When you guys saying the fight, when I was watching it, there was one thing that popped in my head, and it just popped in my head now because I remember I was like, man, it's so awesome watching Crouching Tiger, Hidden Darth.
Oh, without a doubt.
Hey,
Because it literally
the
felt like
slow
watching.
flying down in
Yeah.
the final fight scene like
It
that.
was
Oh,
like
for sure.
they took The Matrix and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and had a baby.
yeah, but why are those movies so popular? Because of that stuff.
Right.
Because 1996 called,
And that's exactly why they had Carrie Ann Moss in it.
Yeah.
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 To
And
introduce
that was
that
awesome,
fighting
too.
style so
Yeah.
that you would be okay with it.
Yeah.
Because we've all seen her, well, except for Scruffy, has all seen her in The Matrix. And
You
and
ever
how
seen
she
The
fights-
Matrix?
Another fight, another day. Another fight, another day.
Oh, look at that.
You've never seen one of the greatest cinematic movies ever
All right, Brown
made?
Leader, if you don't keep going, he's just going to go
So,
into the Matrix.
but bringing her in tells the viewer in that when she does that style of fighting and introduces it in the first episode, it tells the viewer that this is okay. This is part of Star Wars now.
Yeah.
And we're more accepting of it because we see Carrie Ann Moss doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I was okay with killing her because right in the get-go, because one, it adds stakes to the show
Mm-hmm.
from a storytelling standpoint.
I was opposite of that.
And it was a well enough known actress. If it had been somebody like Yord or one of the other academic Jedi that died in the first episode, you would have been like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you see Carrie Ann Moss die, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, damn,
Yeah.
something might happen,
When I saw it, I was like, oh, look, they Darth Mulder.
So she's coming back with robot legs.
I mean,
But Darth Maul got the whole movie, though.
Darth Maul was in 3 scenes, and he was all of Disney's or Lucasfilm's marketing budget of
Yeah.
episode 1.
Yeah,
Sure
but
enough.
they
Yeah.
brought him back.
Yeah, in
brought
the
him back.
Clone Wars, but
Hey.
later,
Yeah.
He's back. You
Yeah.
can't bring her back.
when
only
I
got
saw it, I was like,
She only got stabbed with a knife.
I was
mean,
you.
who's to
you-
say she's not in
You built
space
up
or
the
somewhere?
Acolyte on Carrie Ann Moss, and then offed her in the first part of the movie. Now, I would have been okay with them killing her if it was in like the 3rd episode and I had known her and cared. But I was like, oh, you killed Trinity.
Right.
Cool.
I was okay with it only because, I wasn't attached to her.
Right.
I was like, you killed her right away. All right, cool. I was more disappointed when the Wookiee Jedi because we never got one.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you do that all of a sudden?
Oh yeah, you introduced something brand new to us.
Yeah.
Within what, an episode
Yeah.
or so? It was.
And then
He's gone.
he's gone, man.
Kylo Ren took him out.
Yeah.
Smilo Ren.
Hey,
I love
Kylo
it.
Ren.
Oh my God, that's who he is from now on. Smilo Ren.
Smilo Ren.
I expected to see him sitting there in the chair with a sweatshirt saying, "Now I have a lightsaber too."
That's a T-shirt. Smilo Ren.
Smilo Ren.
With the helmet.
All right, so out of 5 stars. Let's end it with out of 5 stars. Give it you first, Brownlee.
2.5.
2.5.
2.5. I gotta agree.
Yeah, I give it a 1. 1 out of 5.
I give it 2.
2. We got a 4 out of 5, and we got a. You just shut up. Nobody wants to.
Acolytes
hear
poop. We agree.
We got a 1.
We got another
We
one.
agree. 1 out of 5 here. Jim, you're the only one producer. What would you give it?
I look at you now.
0. There you go.
Oh.
So we have an average. We have an average of 2 here. So there you go. We got it out. We actually had some balance with that. I think if we went Book of Boba Fett, we would have had
It'd be
a lot more
Boba Fett.
negative. Maybe next time. Maybe next. Who knows? Like maybe.
You think
next year
fuel's
we'll have
bad?
some more.
Wait till you give me a Book of Boba Fett.
All right, so we're gonna end it there. Thank y'all so much. It's an average of 2 out of 5 stars. If you want to waste your time, I don't know. Maybe you'll love it. That's the beauty of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Scruffy out there loved it, but that's the beauty of Star Wars. We watch it anyway. We
can't-
love Star Wars.
You can't take Scruffy,
And-
man. He's never seen The Matrix. You half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
You can't bring Matrix into this ring. Don't bring Matrix into the ring. Don't do it. There you go.
Anyway, we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, exactly. Before it gets violent in here, thank y'all so much.
Before it gets violent in here.
When you see us back, Warwick Davis will be on this stage. Please
Yes.
join us here in a little bit. We still got another day. We still got a few more hours of today. Come on down, meet everybody, get signatures, go on the vendor floor. Still a lot to buy. We'll see you this weekend. Come on down.